Hey guys, welcome back to Release the Craftin. Priscilla here with another day of Poevember. That's hashtag Poevember25. This is in fact day 3. The prompt for day 3 is visitor. And you guys, we're making a little bit of ephemera today. That's what we're doing. I don't even know how to describe it anymore. I am so rusty at doing videos for this channel, and I can't even remember how I did all the Poevember videos last year. So bear with me while I get used to doing voiceovers for this channel again that are not story-based, because what the heck, I feel so out of place. But I will say that what we're making today is it's like a little sliding pop-up sort of deal, and we're making it into Paperclips because I actually did this tutorial for my patrons over on Patreon, like the full tutorial on how to make this pop-up. It is the same pop-up that I made on one of the covers of my autumn mini albums. So if you remember, if you saw that video, there's a cover piece that actually slides up and moves and reveals like a spot for a photo behind it. That's what we're making today, miniature sized. I did the full tutorial, like I said, on Patreon, and at the end of the video, I actually said something like, where I just sort of spouted off an idea where I was like, what if I made these into little tiny paper clips? Wouldn't that be so cute? And I got so excited that I had to like end the video, write it down so that I didn't forget, because I was like, actually that would really work, and I'm very excited to try it out in miniature form. And yeah, so I've had this idea on my desk for about a week now, waiting for me to execute it, and I've just been like sort of chomping at the bit to get it executed because I think it's going to be so great. And I will tell you guys, spoiler alert, it was in fact that great. I was very excited for it. What I will say, though, is that of all the frames I could have used for this particular idea, these little tiny frames made me feel like such an asshole. Not in the bad sort of way, but in the way where I was like, this is the fussiest, fiddliest frame you could have chosen for this, but I absolutely love how they came out. They came out so cool, and I really, really love them, so I'm not mad at it at all. Like, the effort it took to sort of maintain these very thin frames was worth it. I never really imagined turning them into, like, something with layers of acetate and movable parts, but yeah, that's what happened. So heads up, this is very possible. It is very possible to do. It is also very fiddly because the edges are very thin on these particular frames. So what I'm using is some scraps of my faux mercury glass acetate, which I did in a tutorial for grunge school, which I will probably resume in the new year, so look forward to that. But whatchamacallit, I have little bits and pieces of it everywhere because I made so much for that video. So I've been trying to come up with ways to use it, and I think it works very well in spooky things. Don't ask me why, because it looks like mercury glass, and mercury glass looks like antiques. I don't know. But I'm using that as my background because I wanted something that was a little bit different. I thought about using a little bit of like some of the background pages from the kit, which is also very plausible to do, but then I wanted it to be just a little bit more special, a little bit more snazzy. So I'm using that as my background, and I'm making a couple of things. I need a base page, I need a frame that is going to be holding the mechanism that slides, and I need a piece to back our final photo piece together. So yeah, that's what's happening here. I'm not going to actually do the full tutorial because, like I said, I did this one on Patreon already, and to answer a question that actually came up in last year's Poevember run, I know that these videos are very fast. It's because they're not meant to be tutorials. They're just meant to be like a, hey, look at this thing I made, hope you get some inspiration from it type of videos. If you are interested in tutorials that I have not done on Patreon already, you can ask. You can absolutely ask, and I will do a slowed down version in real time to give you guys sort of a tutorial on how I make stuff. So I know that I say it every so often on my channel, but it bears saying again now that we're starting this new challenge, that if you see something over the course of this month that you're like, man, I really wish she did that in a slower version so that I could learn how to do it, just say it, and I will put it on my list of things to turn into a proper tutorial. I can't promise that it's going to be a speedy turnaround, but like within the next couple of weeks, I will definitely get to it. To do a tutorial, because I'm not trying to, because when I do tutorials, first of all, they're chaotic, and secondly, they're long, because see the first thing, chaos. So if I did that for every single one of these videos and did it like tutorial style, the videos would be like 2.5 hours long a piece, and they'd be full of every error I've ever made in my life, because I don't edit anything. I don't believe in editing. I actually refuse to do it if I have to. It takes a lot of effort for me to edit, and I prefer things that are stream of consciousness anyways, so that you get like the most authentic version of my creative process. So when I do tutorials, there are mistakes in there inevitably, because I am only human. And it happens. But I don't want you guys to feel like having tutorials is not an option either. So that's why I want to like repeat it and say that, if there's something you want to see me do in a slower format, just ask. I will show you slower. Provided I haven't already showed it on Patreon, at which point I'll refer you to my Patreon, because I have a $5 tier where I show a bunch of this stuff all the time. I do craft with me's and I do that kind of things, and I know that this is sort of a shameless self-promotion plug, but I do stuff over there, and it's cool and it's fun. And if you are thinking about my Patreon, now would be the time to join, because I'm going to make some changes in December. And if you are joined now, well, I'm going to make changes in January, so by December. But if you are currently a member on my Patreon now, you'll get the current benefits plus the new benefits. If you join next year in January, you won't get the same things. I'm going to be closing those tiers and opening up new tiers with different structures and different things available. I'm going to do a big rehaul of my Patreon to make it a little bit more accessible and a little bit more, manageable. For my current, physical health, as well as my mental health. But that's what I'm going to do. So, if you want to get all of the rewards, all of the things, now would be the time to join, especially at the $15 tier. But at the $5 tier, you're going to get stuff like this. This is the $5 tier is where I did the full tutorial for this, so you could actually check that out there. And you don't have to be subscribed forever. You could subscribe for a month and see what's up there, get this tutorial, and, get all the digitals and stuff that are up there too. Because I gave away the digital kit for this month. Was the Poevember kit that I'm using right now. So if you wanted this kit, you could get the majority of it at the $5 tier, and then the rest of it at the $10 tier. Just things to pop out there, because that would actually be cheaper for you than going on Etsy to get it, because I have to add extra money on Etsy to cover Etsy's fees. Because Etsy does this thing where they tell you how much money you're going to get, depending on how much you put as the price, and it's insidious, because you realize how much money you're losing in fees. But yeah, that's enough of my self-promotion ramble here. I have, like I said, I have no idea how to do these voiceovers anymore, so hopefully it's not super off-putting while I figure out what to talk about, because I don't know what else to talk about. And I probably should go watch what I talked about last year and see what I talked about. How many times can I say talked about? Yeah, just see what I chatted about during the other videos in between all of the poems, because I don't know what I talked about at all. And it feels like it wasn't this. It feels like it wasn't this at all. But this is kind of what people on Patreon deal with, so if you like it. I'm also very tired. That's probably part of the reason why these voiceovers aren't super crazy, but I wanted to get a couple in the bag so that I could upload them and not have to worry about uploading them on time for the day of. So I'm doing these a little bit back to back when I'm also very tired. So maybe tomorrow I will do the rest of them and not be so tired and rambly about things that really have nothing to do with what's going on in the video. So here we are. I'm finally getting to the point where I'm assembling all the parts and pieces, liking how it's coming out. I actually hadn't intended to make a little frame for each of these. I usually make a frame when I do the bigger size, but I realized even then at the small size, I didn't like how it looked with just the score lines on it, so I covered it up with just some scraps from the pages I already cut out. Man, words are really hard. What a tongue twister that was. And the random bits of frameage worked out pretty well anyway, so yeah, I'm really happy with that. And then for the prompt was visitors, so I came up with these two paper dolls. These ones came from Lori's pack, so thank you, Lori, for helping with that, because I needed some creepy looking visitors. And I have this thing in my mind where it's like we took a photo of these strangers that we saw, and that's what we're sort of working with here, and that's what they're hanging out, and it's sort of this a little bit extra aggressively angry woman, young woman, and then this man with a cat, which is, in my book, a green flag, but in this book is going to be a red flag because he's a spooky man that you don't know his motivations about. He's just carrying this cat around. Is it him that's evil, or is it the cat that's evil? Mwahaha, kind of stuff. That was where my brain was when I was doing this, and then I wanted to use some of the stickers out of this book because I'm trying to get rid of this book. I have so many of these Halloween clippings books now. To the point where I'm like, you need to condense this down, because I use a little bit out of one book, and then I get another book, and I use a little bit out of that book, and then it just gets to the point where I have all these books that are halfway empty, because I keep getting new ones. So I didn't buy anything new this year from Tim Holtz to see if I could work through some of this stuff. And I am. I would like to say, I did decide to come out here and pick out some words to sort of add to the sense of foreboding with these, and also tie it in with some of the other stuff here. And then I realized by the time I got to this point that I forgot to incorporate the paperclip in a meaningful fashion, which would have been behind the faux mercury glass piece. I would have had to stick the paperclip down so that you wouldn't see it in the final product, but then I was like, well, it's probably pretty good that you didn't do that, because you might see it still through the acetate anyways. So to solve that problem and all problems going forward, I just used a scrap strip of paper and added the paper clip to that, and then glued the whole thing down with a lot of extra glue just to make sure the paper clip didn't slide out. And usually I like juxtapose my paper clips and do one on one side and one on the other, but I decided to just make them the same size, same side. And there we have it. We have these fantastic little paper clips that have a fun, like, pop-up sliding element. My finger was stuck on that. That reveal a bit more of the kit. You could also put a space for, like, writing space, put, like, a secret message under there. That's what I usually would do. But for this purposes, I wasn't really planning on making this book writable, so to speak, so I'm not really worried in like trying to incorporate extra writing spaces. There will be writing spaces because there's always writing spaces, but I'm not looking to like add extra writing spaces by any means. So yeah, there we have it. There's my little paperclip. I'm so happy with how these came out. They're really cute, and I will probably make more again in the future. But I love it. I love it so much. They're just perfect. So yeah, that's it. I appreciate your faces, guys. Thanks for hanging in. Make sure you come back tomorrow, see what else we do for Poevember, and make sure that you follow the hashtag and see what everybody else is doing. Until next time, guys, happy crafting and goodbye.